Well, hey everybody. I had a dream last Sunday night that I felt led to share. And how many of you have had a dream where you felt like you just didn't want to wake up because you wanted to know the end? It was one of those. It was so real. I found myself in a doorway. I was about ready to walk into a room. When I looked around the room, it was like a big recreation room or a family room of some sort. There was couches and chairs and people everywhere, all the way from young babies with mothers all the way to the elderly children running around, and I was standing in the doorway. So I entered in, and some lady offered me a plate of food. So as I sat down with everybody, I felt like I knew everybody. It was very comfortable and peaceful. Yeah, I didn't recognize anybody. So I continued doing what I do best and just helped everybody and cleaned up. And I knew I had to go to the little girl's room. I knew I didn't know where I was when I had to ask where it was. And this lady showed me. And I walked into this room, another room, and it was bigger because I noticed there was rooms off this big room. And it appeared to be a bigger than normal bedroom, but behind the door was a commode. But the commode wasn't like a built-in one, it was like a temporary one. And I thought it was odd that it was behind the door. So I went out and proceeded to continue doing what we were doing and talking. I have no memory of what we talked about, nothing. I just knew that we all had a peaceful, amazing time with big smiles and chairs and crawling around. And I noticed I had to go again. Now this was in real life. I really did. I forced myself to stay asleep. And I noticed Dora. So I remembered, wow, I better remember to grab her before we go. So I went again, same thing, big room behind the door. That was the second time. Went out and I knew that I had to leave after a little while as we were conversing. And I don't even remember what we were talking about. Nothing really serious. That was the whole point. There was like nothing familiar. Like we had all our memories wiped, and we knew each other. We were continuing on. We were all together. Nobody judged anybody. Everybody loved everybody. It was like a new communication of some sort. Totally different than what's happening now, right? As far as talking to people. So after a little while, I realized that I had to go and hugged everybody. I knew I just had to go before I went to. So grabbed door and walked in that same door and realized that there was a room that was full of beds. And the beds weren't like hospital beds or anything like that, but it was all full of elderly women. And I felt like I had intruded, kind of backed out. And they kept saying, no, come in, it's all right. When I explained what I had to do before I left. And I kept saying, don't worry, we're family, it's okay. It's open. It was open. And it was behind the door. So I said goodnight to everybody, and some lady had walked up to me and said, well, we're putting them to bed or helping them, somewhere along that line. And with a big smile on her face, everybody was peaceful and happy and smiling, and waved at me as I left, picked up daughter and left. And as I'm walking through the family room, kind of recreational place, big large room, kids I glanced were still running around, and the people were dwindling. They definitely were dwindling. It was getting shorter, smaller amount of people. I picked up daughter and I realized that when I got to the door, I had to walk through this section, which we consider and know as a lobby. So I kind of glanced around. When I did, I noticed where the doors were. And when I went to reach for the door to open it, well, the door was pushed open, and there was a man standing there that pushed it open and let me walk out, and it appeared to be like my ex. Now, an ex or a husband or something normally represents Jesus, right? And as I was, told to walk through, I knew I was in the parking lot, heading for my car, and I had this gut gumption to look behind me. And when I did, he was still standing there at the door with this big smile on his face, and I don't know, but somehow I felt like a thank you came out of me. And I don't know, there was just something about the eyes, the smile. And he was still holding the door open. I do believe the door's about to close, though, as after I prayed about this, I finally woke up and had to really go. And when I did, I prayed about this because I was shaking all over, it was really real. It was longer, too. And I kept saying, Lord, if this is from you, you'll show me. If not, take it away. So after a few days, I kept getting scriptures from John 14, and the commode was temporary, so it could be taken. It wasn't stationary. This is not our home. We're just passing through. They're putting the elderly to bed earlier and taking care of them, and angels. We have angels assigned to watch over us. Psalm 91:11. Everybody was happy and smiling, and nobody was talking about stuff that's going on now or the past, or it was all a new beginning. It was awesome. So at the doorway, when I walked in, I was standing at the door. Jesus is at the door, right? And then I was walking to the lobby. I don't get that part yet. But when I went to the door was opened by what would represent Jesus. And Jesus opens the door that no man can open and closes the door no man can close. I walked out into the parking lot. I don't get that yet. My car was still the same one. I call her Scarlet, the blood of Jesus. With Dora, my angel dog, my dream dog. Remember I had that dream? The Lord gave it to me. And I turned around. I remember, because it was so strikingly odd, first of all, that I would recognize my ex after all these years. And second of all, when I turned around, it didn't look like him. And it was kind of like the most beautiful eyes and smile ever. And somehow I felt like a thank you came out of my mouth or something. And I left. And I woke up. And I really had to go. But I do believe that, there were so many people there. It felt like a family reunion, a gathering. 1 Thessalonians, 1 Corinthian 15, 50-53. Come up hither. I don't know. It was just, Jesus is at the door. We're standing at the door. And Jesus is at the door. The door is open right now. He opens no door no man can open, and closes no door no man can close. And as in the ark, he opened the door and told Noah to get those animals in. Time is short. I think that's what he's saying, because he's at the door. We've had so many confirmations on that, as well as, the temporary commode could be broken down and taken any place. And this is a temporary home. We're just passing through. This is not our home. And it's really been but just a vapor. Yet we felt like it's been so long. It's the wearing down of the saints. And everybody there, we were eating, not as in the days of Noah. There was no DNA exchange. That was all over. See what I'm saying? Okay. Take it to the Lord. I'm just sharing in obedience what I was told to share. And there's probably more to this that I'll leave in the description box. As I say, let's keep looking up. This is Debbie from Texas. Leave your comments in the comment section if you have more to add. Peace out, Maranatha. King is coming.